Well, it all started 25 years ago in a small office just down the road. Thank you all for coming out. It's not something I'm used to. This kind of attention, I greatly appreciate it. It's been, I am one of the most fortunate people to have the opportunity to put your skills to work, challenge yourself, and help other people, and work in an environment where you're working with people that want to do the same. I can't imagine a better environment, a more supportive environment. And I do have to thank the board members, those that are here, and if you pass it on to those that aren't here, if you see them, thank you for that support. Thank you for being there. The organization, growing an organization is never easy, but it's impossible to do without, number one, a mission that's important, and number two, folks like yourselves. I can't tell you how grateful I am to have had the opportunity to work alongside folks that set the bar very high for compassion and integrity. That's good. Day after day after day, I was surrounded with people that were doing things because they wanted to, because they saw that there was an opportunity to use their skills, their gifts, to be able to help those who might be less fortunate. Habitat for Humanity is a phenomenal organization. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but the opportunity that Habitat gives over and over and over again. All of you have heard me say that there are unlimited numbers of nonprofits in our area, and thank goodness they're there. But with Habitat, it's a gift that lasts. It's a gift that, as the Habitat's saying, it's a hand up, not a hand out. And it makes a lifetime difference to these families and their children and their children. I've had the opportunity to sit at a closing table with close to 100 families. And you've probably all heard me say, I can't tell you how many times when I handed them the keys, they said, I just never thought this would happen. Because that's the world that they live in. Something always happens. And so Habitat for Humanity offers the opportunity for these families to have stability, have hope, and to realize that there are people out in the community that they've never met before that care. One of the first dedications, Ben Flynn in Burlington, that I went to, he talked about the first volunteer day that he came out to work on his house. It was a crew coming off the night shift at IBM. And he said he just couldn't believe that these people that he had never met, that had worked all night long, were coming out to help him build his house. That example, over and over and over, is what Habitat is about. And you folks are part of that. You folks, Jane Stickney, it's not just Habitat. Everywhere I would go, oh, there's Jane Stickney at the food show. Oh, there's Jane Stickney. That heart for the community. And Bruce Bender for all the times, and the financial supporters of Habitat for Humanity. The staff. to some of the staff that are here tonight. We have a whole new wave of staff, a younger wave of staff coming in. And Habitat is in good hands, very good hands. The next levels of Habitat are just around the corner because of that energy and that compassion. And I hope you realize how fortunate you are to work for an organization that makes such a difference. You make a difference. I have to take just a second to, number one, thank my family. I've got a number of family members here. I'm grateful for that. To thank my wife, Sherry. I worked for Habitat for 25 years, so does she. The first 20, she didn't get paid for. Whether it be helping me haul furniture or carting stuff around or editing documents over and over and over again. I'm grateful for that. Always willing to help. To have somebody in your corner like that enables you to get through some of the tougher days. Family members, you know, it's looking at family and knowing the family support that you have. And that's what Habitat is about. A larger family, a community family. I have to thank my son, Dan. Dan, put up your hand. Dan was the first truck driver for Habitat. We talked about the restores. Dan was in his senior in college doing a senior paper on opening a restore. And helped get that store off the ground. Jonathan Goldhammer and Dan made that happen. They are an example of whatever it takes. And that's what Habitat's about. Oh, there's a permit issue. Well, just keep going. Persistence. I said to Brett, the next CEO, raise your hand. I said to him what I have said to numerous staff. This ship just keeps on going. It keeps on going. So whether you think you've got a roadblock today, it keeps going. And know that so that we can get through this. And so Dan and Jonathan, you know, starting that restore, as Stu said, when I first looked at that 7,000 square feet, I thought, oh my God, how are you going to fill 7,000 square feet full of furniture? And then we did literally on a Starbucks napkin in Williston, sat down and said, okay, here's the rent, how many couches, and it was like 7 or 8 couches a week we had to sell to pay the rent. Like, how can you sell 7 or 8 couches a week? Well, Dan and Jonathan out there getting all that furniture, all those, a lot more than 7 couches, making that happen. And that can-do attitude that, hey, we haven't sold clothing before. Why don't we try clothing? Hey, per square foot, that's doing better than doors. We're getting rid of doors. We're doing clothing. How about baling clothing? You can do 300-pound bales. Okay, give it a try. Then 800-pound bales. Then 1,000-pound bales. So, Habitat is about can-do. There are an awful lot of contractors that will tell you you cannot build a good house with 300 volunteers that don't know what they're doing. But Habitat does it, thanks to Chris and Dick and those skilled folks. But Habitat does it. And so if we could just spread the word in the community, and I was talking to Seth tonight, the community is ready to hear about Habitat. Habitat is ready to make an even larger imprint on the community. And the community is ready to support. All you have to do is ask. And so many of you folks were asked, and you stepped up. I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to work with Habitat. I'm so grateful to have had a board that was supportive. I was around many a Habitat table with other affiliates that the board was a nightmare. And I have always had a board that was supportive, and I'm grateful for that. I know I could go on, but I do want to, I thank the staff at Habitat, morning till night. And some of you day in and day out, weekend and nights, of such dedication. I could not have done it. I can't not point out Sherry Boucher. You can accomplish a lot if you don't have partners. Sherry is an unbelievable partner. Dedication beyond dedication. I'm the one that had to, well, if she's going to be here, I am. If she's coming in at 7:15, I have to come in at 7. That support, that somebody to bounce an idea off, or somebody to hear an idea that I hadn't thought about, somebody that cares about the mission as much, if not more than I do, somebody that's willing to touch every piece of the organization. That's the dedication. Sherry, I am unbelievably grateful to you. Thank you. Thank you all for coming tonight. It means a lot to me, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to work with each one of you. And after a little trip around the country, I'm sure, as I said to a couple of you, I'm like a bad penny. I'll be back. So thank you so much.